Hi there. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go into episode 4 in the tutorial series for RGP tools, and what I'm going to do is a quick introduction to the particle effects. Now particle effects really need a lot of hands-on experimentation to get them right, but there is a particle effects engine, a simple one built into the tool. And it's quite powerful once you figure it out. I'm still really learning it, and I spent a couple hours in it, but there's a lot it can do, and I just want to go over the basics of it. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is I am going to switch over to RGP tools here, and we're in the engine. So what I've got going on here is from a devlog I was doing. I was building an Oli devlog, so I just have this ground all built out using my own tile sets and stuff. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over here by the ocean, and where this rock is out in the middle of the ocean, I'm just going to do two rudimentary things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little fire here using a pre-canned one on this beach, on this little sandy beach. I'll put a little fire object down there, and then I'm going to put build a water spray to put here. So we'll start with the fire here. So what we want is we're going to go objects, and what I want to do is I just want to add an object, and then under options I'm just going to search for fire, and then just look through the pre-canned objects of what we've got, and I'm just going to grab this fire pit, and we're going to place it right here on the beach. And then I'm also going to look for a log, and there's a log with about the right angle that I want. So we're just going to place that kind of right next to it on the beach for someone to sit at. And we're going to put another one kind of right there, so a couple of people can sit on the beach and have a fire. Now we're just going to zoom in here, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a pre-canned particle effect. So I'm going to first of all I'm going to open the particle editor. No, actually I'm going to go back to the engine, so the level editor, file. I'm going to save that, and we're just going to add it in here. So you need to know where they're at for browsing. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go effects, and then I'm here, and I want to choose the type of object in the effect mode, and I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to find a particle emitter. So then I'm going to go browse, and where the particle emitters is in your project file, which is usually in documents. It's in RGPtools. This is the project name, only one, then data, then particles. So in particles, I can find this one here, Fire 02. Open that up, and then I can place that right there. And now we've got a fire on the beach. I'll hit save, play, and there we go. Our dude's on the beach, and there is particles in front of him. So pretty easy, nice little beach fire. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how you can create your own particles. Now there's a lot of tweaking and tuning that goes on to make these right, but what I'm going to do is first I'm going to place a rock here. So I'm going to go back to objects. I want to add an object here. I don't want a particle emitter, I want an object, and I'm going to look for a rock. Now I'm going to scroll down here. I want to find something that's very kind of coastally looking. One of these guys, something that the rock can break, or the ocean spray can break off as it hits. How about something like this guy here? We'll use this guy here. So we're gonna take him, And we're going to just plump them down right here. Hit escape so we don't place another one. Select him. Now I want to go to settings. And I want to scale him up a bit here. Sure, that'll work. And we'll just put him right there. Good enough, and then we'll make the ocean spray bounce off of that. Perfect, okay. File, save. Now we want to go into the particle editor. Okay, so now we're in our particle editor, and I've got this one I've called Ocean Spray, and I've just pre-started it. And what you can do is you could change all these variables to make these however you want. So with this one, what I've done is I've set a spawn delay of 150, but if I cancel that out, sorry, my cat's here beside me on the desk, and she's actually pressing keys. So there may be a couple of things I've got to do a couple times here. But so I've changed the spawn delay, so there's no delay. It just starts spawning right away. I've only got it set to 35 particles. I'm going to up that to 55 particles. A little bit more spawning. I've got the angle set here. Oh, I don't know what she just did there, but hopefully that didn't stop anything from recording. Hopefully you didn't get too big of an interruption. My cat stepped on the keyboard. So we've got a bunch of particles spawning here, and they're floating out, and I've got the angle set at -65 so that they go in that direction, because I want them kind of bouncing up when they hit the rock. But that's a bit back. I think I want them going up a little more in the air. So I think I'm going to change that from 165 to 185, and we'll see how that looks. Cat, don't hit the keyboard. Thanks. Maybe I want that to be 155. It's a bit in the other direction. Yeah, then hit the rocks and then spray forward. That's not too bad. Oh, that wasn't 155. Sorry. A bit of bounce back, but I kind of want them spraying over the rock, not bouncing back into the water. So what I'm going to do is change that angle. $90 should be straight up and down. So I think I want a little less than 90. I think I'm going to want this around 75. Maybe 65. Maybe 60. I know. We'll go 62 and we'll compromise right in the middle. Nice. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, minimum scale 1.25. We're going to shrink that down to 0.75. And I think maximum scale we're going to want to go 2.25. That looks pretty good. That looks like water droplets for sure. Now the color isn't quite gray enough, I don't think. I think what I'm going to do is go in here, and I'm just going to go a little lighter and a little grayer. Perfect. I think that's going to work good. I think I'm going to want that radius a bit bigger so that they spray from a little wider perspective. So I'm going to change that up to 45. And then it should be a little wider of a spray angle. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I think I want the lifespan a little longer. I want the spray to go a little longer. 1.75. And then they'll float further up into the air, and they should turn lighter and then fade out higher up. Like, that's pretty good. I think I'm going to live with that. So you get the idea. You could change the angle, the color. You can get X offset, Y offset. I haven't played around with those too much. You could change the angle here. You can even attach a shader if you want to it. But that's all over extra CPU overhead. So depending how many you use in game, that's going to be a lot of actual um, processing power. If you attach a shader, use a lot of particles. So if you can get away with less particles, like here, I've only got 55 particles on the screen. I don't need it to look like a big fireball spraying, right? But I could up that. So if I change that from 55, say I change that to 500, you can see there's a heck of a lot more going on there. It's a lot busier. It looks more like a fountain hose going off than an actual water spray. But I also know that on screen it doesn't quite perform like this. It looks a little more washed out over certain types of textures. So more sometimes is better. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make this 125 particles. And I'm going to see how that looks. I'm going to save that out and see how that looks. I think I want to change the speed a little bit up. Hit the restart button and let's see. I'm pretty happy with that. That's going to look pretty good, I think. It doesn't exactly match the water that I've currently got, but it does also, it has its transparency level, so a little more darkness should show through in the game engine. So, File, Save. Now we're going to switch back to the game engine, to the level editor. Now in the level editor, we're going to go into Effects, and then what I'm going to do is I am going to go from Effects, I'm going to go Add Particle Emitter. I'm going to go Browse. I want to find that, geez, which one was it? Was it Ocean 1 or Ocean 2? I think it was Ocean 1. And you can see there on screen it looks a little darker. And I'm going to put it right here. And we'll see how that looks in engine. And you can see in engine here, it's got some water particles hitting on it, splashing up and then disappearing, but it's not nearly as heavy as what it looked like in the editor. And that's one thing I've noticed. So, but I think that that changes when the more particles you add, right? So if I go into that now, and if I place another one of those in there, and I just put another one right there, and then maybe another one right there, you can see that's a lot more ocean spray coming up over the rock. So it's not the perfect ocean spray. It doesn't look absolutely great, but I've wanted to only spend a little bit of time throwing that on there for you. Now there's also another way to do this, I believe. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these ocean sprays, delete, ocean spray, delete, ocean spray, delete. So I've gotten rid of all the ocean sprays. So now I'm going to go to Objects, and in Objects I'm going to scroll down. Sorry. Under Objects I'm going to go Particle Emitter. Oh, I guess there isn't a way. I thought I could do it through Objects as well. So, I guess not. I'll put that in the scene right there. That's what I want. Hit play. It's not nearly as dense as I want, so I'm going to escape out of that. File, save, go into the particle editor, and I'm going to come up here from 125. I'm going to make that 500. File, save, back over here to the level editor, And let's just see if that's updated. Actually, I'm going to remove it. Delete. I'm going to go effects. Add a particle emitter. Browse. Ocean 1. Just grab it fresh. Put it in here. It's got a lot more effects generating. It really looks busy here on the level editor, right? Like it's rendering out there. There's a ton going on. But when I jump in engine, that's going to be washed out and faded out, and you won't see nearly as much. See? Not nearly as much. In fact, I'd almost say there's a bug there because that's barely showing any. That doesn't look much different than how it did when I first placed them. Unless they're generating under that rock, maybe, but I don't think so. Let me go to objects. Move it. Play. Yeah, no, it didn't change anything. They're still not really generating. So I think that that's probably a bug because this is generating a crazy amount, and it doesn't seem to change by upping the amount. But I'm going to try and prove that out right now by going into effects, ocean spray, delete. Then I'm going to go back into here, file, save, editor, particle editor. We've got it going on here. It sure generates. Seems like it's generating a lot to me. But I'm going to change that up, and I'm going to make that 5,000. And I'm going to turn up the life on it too. From 1.5, we'll make it a full 2 seconds. Minimum life, we're gonna make the minimum life. I'm gonna make minimum life 1. Make sure they don't fade out too soon. That's pretty crazy. We got a lot going on there. So file, save. So what we got happening now is I just upped this to 5,000 particles, 0.25 for the spawn duration. So the duration is pretty short on the spawn, but the minimum lifetime is a full second. Maximum lifetime is 2 seconds. So we've got a pretty good particle flow going on there. So now what we're going to do, back into the level editor, back into effects, back into particle emitter, browse, grab that ocean spray one, open that bad boy up. Oh yeah, there's a ton of particles. So if we don't have a ton of particles happening here, then there's definitely a bug in the system. File, save, play. And there you go. We've only got a couple little things going on. So there's definitely some sort of a bug there. So I'll pass that on to Martin. He'll probably have that fixed on the next release. But that's the basics of building particles. So I got that ocean spray there. That would look a lot more like an ocean spray if it was actually generating the particles I told it to originally. And then down here, we've got the pre-canned particles of the fire going on, and it looks pretty good. So now it is possible I did something wrong here and that they're just dying out too soon or something. But I don't think so. You saw how I said it. It should be fine. But that's where we're going to leave it, I think. That is introduction to the particle editor. The best way to learn it is just to play around with it. Spend some time in it, play around with it, make up a whole bunch of particles. Save, take some of the ones like the fire and the smoke and the snow or whatever, save them out as like fire 2, snow 2, whatever. Play around with them and edit them in the particle editor, see what you can do and learn how to use it. On that note, I'll see you in the next one.